Good afternoon to all. How are you? Hope you're fine. So last class we talked about our new chapter, our new unit, that is Tales and Tunes. So last class we talked about symbol stories. That is, do you remember that? Last class stories? Yes, Vimal's grandmothers, Aesop fables, keep your eyes open, something like that. Do you remember that stories? Yes, I got your answers. So I hope you understand very well those stories. So now today we are going to learn other activities from that chapter, keep your eyes open. Based on that chapter, a small chapter. Some of the descriptions are there, some of the activities are there. Now we can do that. So last two activities, I think two activities you done it very well. That is page number 40. Please take page number 40. So last class we talked about a few beginnings of story and endings of the story. So various types of beginnings and endings are here. Just we can move that. After that we can take it other parts. Okay. So, few beginnings of the stories. On the 20th May in the evening, on the far side of green trees, it was very hot day. On fine day, long ago, there was a desert wind blowing that night. So, here are some interesting beginning of the story. So, I will give you a homework that to find out more beginning of the story, and you done it a very perfect way. And that second activity, that is find out more ending of the story and beginning of the story also. The fox and the other animals lived happily ever after. That is an ending of the story. And next one, the lion did not ever play any more trick on others. Like that, I got a beautiful ending stories. Okay. Now we can move to the third activity. A story can be developed collectively. Let's participate in the act of developing a story based on the answers to a few questions. Here are 10 question answers. So, I will say the answers now and you try to make a paragraph belong to that questions to form a new story. Now, just discuss the story. The story is, a first question, the story is about a king and a queen. Where did they live? So the question is, the story is about a king and a queen. Where did they live? In the castle, in a palace, in a mansion, in a stately home. Where did the king and the queen normally live? Yes, the answer is in a palace. Please put a tick mark in that sentence, in a palace. Now come to second question. The king and the queen had a daughter. So, the king and queen had a daughter. What was her name? So, what was her name? Jane, Kalyani, Gauri, Rabia, Tina. So, which name is belong to a queen's daughter's name? Which name? You can add Jane or Tina. Two answers are correct. And next one. How did she look like? And how did she look like? The perfect name you can choose Jane. And how did she look like? She looked like pretty, beautiful, ugly, gorgeous, slim. So you can write beautiful, pretty, gorgeous, etc. Next one. Now come to third question. What was the attitude of the princess? Now first one, what did the king and queen live? In a palace. And second one, they had a daughter. The daughter name is Jane. And third one, how did she look like? That is beautiful, pretty, gorgeous, etc. And third question, what was the attitude of the princess? Always sad, happy, gloomy, lively. So here, there is a problem in that princess. So your answers is always sad and gloomy. The queen offered something as a reward. What was it? So the story You should imagine what was the story. Something happened in there. So the queen offered something as a reward. What was it? A ring, gold coins, a sack of rice. So the king and queen always gave a reward, that is gold coins. So you can write gold coins. What did the musician play on? What did the musician play on? A flute, a guitar, a harmonium, a piano. So here you can write a harmonium. What did the fairy and the joker do? So in the story, the other person's entry, king, queen, princess, and next one, a fairy and the joker. What did the fairy and the joker do? The fairy cast a magic spell or blessed her. The joker told jokes or did a somersault. So you can write the answer, that is the fairy cast a magic spell and the joker told jokes to princess. There was a young man. Now come to the next question. There was a young man in the story. What was he? The next entry, that is a person, young man. What was he? A teacher, a musician, a wrestler. So you can write the answer, a musician. Next one, the boy in the story had a pet. What was it? Now the next question, the boy in the story had a pet. What was it? A cat, a dog, a squirrel, a parrot, a bear. So you can write the pet is a parrot. Now come ninth one. What happened when the princess saw the pet? While saw the boy's pet, the princess' mood is changed. And what was that? Sad, frightened, excited. What was it? Yes, definitely she will be happy while seeing the pet parrot. Who won the prize? The cat, the dog, the squirrel, the parrot, the bear, no one. So who won the prize? Yes, the princess became happy while she saw the parrot. So the parrot won this prize. So up to this 1 to 10th question, page number 42. Please take page number 42. Activity 4. Activity 3 you should write in your textbook, just tick mark. But activity 4 you should write it in the notebook and textbook too. Now write a story and give it suitable title, or you can write it in textbook itself. Write a story and give a suitable title. The beginning of the story is given. So the beginning of the story is here and you just write the other things based on the question answers. Once upon a time, there was a king and a queen. So the story is starting like this. Once upon a time, there was a king and queen lived. And they had a daughter. You can add, they had a daughter, a beautiful, a gorgeous princess. His name is Jane. And there is some problems in that princess. You can add anything into that stories. Okay? So your first work, today's class, first work is to complete the story. You had a starting of the story is here, beginning of the story is here, and you need a message or content, middle of the story, and finally come to end of the story. So I hope you understand what to do. Okay? Now we can move to next activity. Activity number 5. A story is given in a jumbled order. Here you can see some points are there, and this is a story, and story is into jumbled order, means disorder. Rewrite the story into correct sequence. So activity 4 and activity 3 you should write in your textbook, and activity 5 you should rewrite the story in the correct order into your notebook. A story is given in jumbled order. Rewrite the story in the correct sequence. Now we want to rewrite each and every sentences. Just we can read the first sentences. Once there lived 3 little pigs. So the starting of the story is, once there lived 3 little pigs. A big bad wolf saw the first and second pigs and decided to make a meal of them. Now the 2 little pigs were terrified and they ran to the third pig's house. Even though the pigs tried to hide into their house, the wolf blew it down in minutes. The wolf tried to huff and puff the house down, but he could not, and he died in the attempt. The third pig worked hard all day and built his house strong with bricks. The first and the second pigs were lazy, and they built their houses very quickly with straw. The two little pigs now felt sorry for being so lazy. They too built their houses with bricks and lived happily ever after. The first beginning of the sentence and ending of the sentence is done here. That is correct. First one, once there lived three little pigs, that was the first sentence, and end of the sentence, the end of the story is the two little pigs was now felt sorry for being so lazy. They too built their houses with bricks and lived happily ever after. Now we want to reorder these sentences into a correct way. So just I will say the numbers or sentence. You just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the first one is the second sentence. The first and the second pigs were lazy, and they built their house very quickly with straw. The second sentence, please put a second number to that sentence. Now come to third. The third pig worked hard all day. The third pig worked hard all day and built the house strong with bricks. The first and second pigs were lazy, and they built their house very easily with straw. But the third pig, he is very clever, and he is very hardly worked to build his home, and finally he completed to work his home with bricks. So third sentence, please put a mark into third. The third pig worked hard all day and built his house strong with bricks. Now fourth sentence. A big bad wolf saw the first and second pigs and decided to make a meal of them. Then the entry of a cruel wolf, and they saw the two pigs, first and second pigs, and decided to meal to both of them. So fourth sentence is first sentence. Then come to fifth one. Even though the pigs tried to hide into their house, the wolf blew it down in minutes. Then the pigs tried to hide into their house, but the house was built with straw, and within minutes the wolf can blow that house. So fifth sentence is that. And next one. Now the two little pigs were terrified. The two little pigs were very afraid, and they ran to the third pig's house, and finally two of them ran to the third pig's house, Brick's house. And last sentence, the wolf tried to huff and puff the house down. The wolf was tried to huff and puff, but he could not. So he could not open that or blow that house, and he died in that attempt. And finally, the wolf died into that attempt. So up to this, you please rewrite these answers in your notebook. Fifth activity, third and fourth activity, write it in your textbook. Okay, I hope you understand. Now we can move to the next activity. There are a lot of activities based on this second unit, and simple activities. All the stories are different types of tales and stories. So the heading of our story is tales and tunes. There are a lot of tales. Based on these tales, you can write it different types of stories also. Okay, now you can learn different varieties of stories. Now we can move to the sixth activity. Look at the picture and complete the story given below. Here is the story. Now we can read the story. After that, you should complete the story. This activity, you should write it in your textbook. Okay, now we can read the story. So here is also a picture. A wolf, a fox is there, a tree, and a crow also. One morning, a fox was walking through the woods. So it was a morning. A fox was walking through the woods. He was looking for something tasty to eat. So the fox wants to eat something tasty. So he just wants to eat a tasty food. Soon his nose picked up a scent. So suddenly his nose he felt a sound. What's that? a scent of something very sweet. Yes, that the smell is something sweet smell. He stood still and sniffed the air. So he just stand and he just realized where the smell come. The fox didn't have to wait long to find out what it was. So the fox wanted to know what was the smell that. And he finally know that. What's that? A crow was sitting on a branch high up in a tree. So he saw that a crow was sitting in the high of the branch. And in its beak was the biggest piece of cheese. So he find out that one of the crow is sitting high of the tree, and in his beak there is a big piece of cheese. Do you know what's meant by cheese? Yes, he had ever seen. So up to that time our fox never see like that cheese. And here a lot of space is there, and you should continue to write the story. What happened next? You should write your own story and find it into the end. Okay, so first you read the story, and I think now you got some ideas what happened next. So try to find out, imagine what's happened there and write it in your own ways and complete the story of Fox and Crow. Okay, and write a heading too. So please write a heading in this heading. Here you write a heading. Okay, now we can move to the next activity. In this, based on tales, a first activity, last activity. Activity number 7. Look at the cartoons, fill in the bubbles and frame a story. This is also framing a story. You should write it in your textbook. The beginning of the story is given. So here you can see some bubbles and some pictures here. Yes, just listen. Here you can see some pictures of animals, lions. You can see lion, rat. Okay, did you see 2 rats here, lions there? So based on this picture you can see some bubbles are there. So you should complete some words to complete the story. Okay, now beginning of the story is here, and the middle of the part and end of the story you should write. So first bubble, first starting of the story. Long ago, a lion lived in a forest. One day, he felt very tired and felt asleep. A mouse came there and started disturbing the lion. So the starting of the story is long ago. So first sentence, long ago, a lion lived in a forest. The starting of the story is a long ago, a lion lived in a forest. The second one day he felt very tired and he felt asleep. So one day he was very tired and he felt asleep. At that time a mouse entered, and the mouse came there. He was disturbing the lion while the lion was sleeping. At the time the mouse was disturbing to the lion. And here you can see 4 bubbles there. You must add 4 sentences there into the suitable pictures. Here you can see pictures there, and try to write a suitable lines to match the pictures. And here after 4 bubbles you can see another bubble. There is a sentence. Days passed. One day the lion fell into a trap. So after some days the lion fell into a trap. He called out for help. So he called out for help. Somebody want to help me, please come. So he called down, and you can see the 3 bubbles there, and find out the 3 answers, 3 suitable lines to the. Up to this we complete our first tales based on the chapters activities we complete. Now we can move to the next one. I hope you understand up to this. The story, a simple story, a different types of stories are there. Now you learn a lot of stories, Vimal's grandmother's stories. Then you know the rule of how to say that storytelling, what's the rule of storytelling in that chapter. And the next chapter is of fables. You know the rich voyages, what happened to voyagers. There is a message in that chapter. After that based on that there is a proverbs that I will tell to in detail. Last class we tell in detail what is proverb. Here that is match the following. Based on the match the following, you got proverbs and its meaning. Then we come to the next chapter, that is keep your eyes open. In that chapter we understood that there are some elements of the story, essential elements of the story. Do you remember that what is the essential of the story? That is beginning, development, something happens, things come to an end, and finally conclusion. These 5 elements, that is one of the important things in the storytelling. While you telling the story, these elements are very essential and it's very important too. So in keep your eyes open, that is the main things essential of the story. So based on that chapter, there are a lot of 7 activities are there. First activity you done it very well, that is beginning and end of the story. You should find different types of starting of the story and ending of the story. And after that, today we discuss about a story. Based on 10 questions you should make a story, how to make a story. So 10 question answers are there. Based on that 10 question answers, you should make a story of a king and queen. Starting is there and middle and ending of the story you should find out, and that activity you should write it in your textbook. And next one, number 4, the story framing. Framing that story and done it in your textbook. Then come to activity 5. Activity comes, here is some stories are there, some sentences are there, but the story is in a jumbled order and you should rewrite that sentences and complete the story into a very well story. So I'll tell that numbers into that lines, and this 5th activity you should write it in your notebook. Rewrite the sentences and correct order. Okay. And now 6th activity, that is also a story, a fox and crow story. This story here, some hints are there, some starting of the story is there. So after that, what happened to that fox and crow? What happened after that? That you should write it in your textbook. That also only one activity is written in your notebook. Okay. Please note it that activity 5 you should write that story, jumbled order story, into rewrite in the correct order into your notebook. Activity 6, write it the story, complete the story based on the picture and based on the hints, the fox and the crow, and write a heading too, title of the story. Don't forget title and heading are same. So write the title of the story, suitable title of the story. And last activity based on this, keep your eyes open. Here you can see some pictures, and based on that pictures there are some bubbles. The starting of the story is there, and in that bubble you should write matching sentences to those pictures. Now I hope you understand up to this. Now we can move to a new poem, a beautiful poem, that is The Owl and the Pussy Cat. Our new poem name is The Owl and the Pussy Cat. Owl and the Pussy Cat by Edward Lear. A beautiful, simple animals poems. Okay. Now we can move to that. Read and enjoy, page number 45. Stories can also be in a form of songs and poems. Yes, up to that we just learned what is stories. And now here onwards, stories are just, we can tell, like poem styles. Now listen to a poem that tells the story of an owl and a pussycat. Here it's a form of poem, but in that poem we can learn a story of owl and a pussycat. Here you can see a picture in a boat. There you can see an owl hanging a guitar, and there you can see a pussycat. What do you think the cat and the owl are going to do? So can you imagine? What you tell me? Tell some answers. What What do you think that the cat and the the cat and the owl are going to do? Can you get an idea about that? What's in your mind? Yes, I know that you had many ideas about this while seeing this picture, but it's something difficult while we are learning. Okay, and the second question, where are they going? Why? And the second question is, where are the owl and pussycat going? For why? Why they going? Two question answers are there, and your first work, try to do this question answers. Two question answers. Try to write the answers to this in your own words. Don't copy it from any others or any work. Try to do in your own words. Okay. First question. What do you do? What do you think the cat and the owl are going to do? Second one. What are they going? Sorry. Where are they going? And for why? Why they going? Why? What's the reason that? So two questions you should write. Okay. Now we can first read the small profile of the author, Edward Lear. Then we can just read the poem. After that we can discuss it in detail. Okay, it's a very beautiful and interesting poem. Edward Lear, 1812 to 1888, is an English writer or English artist, illustrator, author and poet. He is known mostly for his limericks, a form of popularized. So what do we mean by limericks? Limericks are short humorous poems with rhymes. Limericks means a short humorous poems with rhymes. This is just like an humorous. Now we can just read the poem. The Owl and the Pussycat. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money. Wrapped up in a 5-pound note, the owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar, "Oh lovely kitty, oh kitty, my love, what a beautiful kitty you are, you are, you are. What a beautiful kitty you are." The kitty said to the owl, "You elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married. Too long we have tarried. But what shall we do for a ring?" They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows, and there in a wood a piggy wiggy stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, with a ring end of his nose. "Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring?" said the piggy. "I will." So they took it away and were married next day. But the turkey, who lives on the hill, they dined on mince and slices of quince. They ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand on the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. So now, did you get any idea from this poem where the owl and pussycat were gone? For what the reason? Where are they go? I think now you got some ideas, isn't it? Yes. So did you expect this thing? No, never. Now the pussycat and owl, they are in love and they are going to marry, and they are going to collect a ring for their marriage. So this is an interesting story, isn't it? Yes. So next class we can take it as detail. Once again I'll read the story. So please read, poem. Once again you please read this poem 1 or 2 times. Then only you get a clear idea about this poem. So one time also I will read. Then next class we can take it as detail. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money. wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to stars above and sang to a small guitar, "Oh lovely kitty, oh kitty, my love. What a beautiful kitty you are, you are, you are. What a beautiful kitty you are." The kitty said to the owl, "You elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us to be married. Too long we have tarried. But what shall we do for a ring?" They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bog tree grows, and there in a wood a piggy wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, with a ring at end of his nose. "Dear pig, are you willing to sell for some shilling your ring?" said the piggy. "I will." So they took it away and were married next day. But the turkey who lives on the hill, they dined on minnies and slices of queens, which they ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand on the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon, they danced by the light of the moon. So now we can wind up today's class. We can discuss it in after next class. Okay, I hope you understand a little thing about this poem. Okay, thank you.